Afternoon, Paul.
Hi, okay.
Any team news this week? Any injuries? How are the players that were missing last week?
No, the two that are definitely missing are John McAtee and Max Wright. The rest, to some degree, have been back in training. Some have trained more than others. Like, for example, one player's only trained today. Seems okay. We'll check that before we travel. But like I said, they're the two that are definitely out. Sean Scannell, Joel Grant have continued to train this week. In reality, too soon for them to be considered now. We've got other players back fit. But overall, we're kind of moving in the right direction, and the lads that we missed last week, genuinely missed because they did have injuries. But as I said at the time, I didn't think any was too bad, too serious, and thankfully that's proved to be the case.
So no setback with Joel Grant, just a case of you've got other players back fit and he's still making.
Yeah, I 100% I put him on last week. Everyone saw that, but that doesn't mean that he's absolutely where he needs to be. We put him on at a stage of a game where we're just hoping that he might just produce one moment for us. Didn't quite happen, but no criticism of Joel on that. But I think in terms of his overall fitness, realistically, we're still some way off getting back to, well, not back, but getting him to where he wants to be, we want him to be able to compete for a place in the squad and the team, in comparison to the lads that obviously have done pre-season and been fit for most of the games that we've had.
And with Max Wright, is that a recurrence of the injury that kept him out earlier in the season?
Not quite. It's the same sort of area. It's higher up. I'm hoping that's a positive. I think he's had his scan. There's a suggestion there that it could be sort of 3-4 weeks. All I would sort of add to that is he has been out running today on the grass and feels probably better than he might have thought he would. That's not suddenly means he's going to be back next week, but it could be a little bit shorter. I think we have to be conscious of the scan, but at the same time, if we hadn't been for one out, where would you be at? So it's striking that balance with that to see how long he is going to be out.
Are you more cautious with obviously the injury record that he's had this season?
We are, but I think we have been in the past. We've looked at, he's been to see a different specialist, for example, this time. Thought we were on a really good sort of road with him. Was looking good last Thursday and Friday, to the point where, just said previously, he would have played. And that's not trying to make Max feel better, it's not trying to anything to do with last Saturday, but he would have started, because we came off a training and he was actually kind of just to the side of me. I turned, kind of said, "How you feeling, Max?" Expecting a really positive, because he'd be, like I said, in a good place, being really bubbly, and he says, "Oh, I just felt something." Now at that point I still felt that it was something where, let's just get a bit of ice on it, a bit of treatment, hence the reason he travelled with us, and would have been okay. I think Saturday morning was when we knew that, once he'd been assessed, that wasn't the case. Hence the reason, I say, why he was with us at Kidderminster, but the 8 subs rather than 9.
Have you tried anything different in training this week? Just, I know you're quite superstitious, aren't you? So anything that you've tried to mix up?
Not particularly, no. We aren't training tomorrow. We'll get this journey out of his legs once we're down there, so that's a slight change to what we've done 2 previous ones. Again, you can get to the point where you're looking at things, but I guess the phrase, small margins, and we're just looking at it thinking, are we dragging people across for training to then set off on another journey, then get on the coach? Does it become a little bit more tiring doing that, rather than just getting picked up perhaps en route? So that's something we're just looking at. Overall, very similar to what we'd normally do. A demand placed on hard work, as the attitude of the players, and we had a bit of a chat collectively on Monday afternoon, but ultimately that's nothing particularly different than what you do any other season. When you've perhaps suffered a couple of results and more couple of performances that have just left me certainly wanting more and expecting more from this group. Just to get a couple of things off his chest, a couple of messages, reiterate them, to hopefully get back to winning ways, and not just winning ways, but I think, as I said, that they're Notts County. I know without going over all ground, happy with that performance. The other two, again, without being like really outplayed, just still things that I want better from us. So not being absolutely awful, but certainly being disappointing results and aspects of the performance that I want us to get better.
And with Aldershot coming up on Saturday, they've lost all 7 of their home games this season. Does that make it harder for you or easier as daft as that might sound? Because they might be licking the wounds, especially after losing 5-0 in midweek as well.
Yeah, I personally, I've never been one that enjoys that, seeing that scoreline, watching the game. I don't enjoy that, because for me there's an element of it's very easy. Yes, confidence I get might be low, but it also gives you an easy reference point, for the manager, for the players. They do everything they can that doesn't happen again. They get together, and it gives, kind of say, as a start, something to go from. Now, if you can get on top of the game as the opposition and maybe get yourself in front, potentially that could make it a really difficult afternoon for them as well. But I'd rather a team almost be in form than out of it, and that's just me. I think it's easier from the players' point of view, but overall, there's a big emphasis on us, and not being disrespectful to Aldershot. I think we, no matter who we play, if we're close to as best, then we are going to give anyone a really tough game in our league. So we need to try to bring that game, and then we'll worry about what the result looks like at the end of it. But I'd again suggest it gives us a really good chance.
Is it imperative you start the game quickly? And I know obviously you want to start a game quickly in every game, but Notts County, for example, you started really well. That although it was the runs-up performance was much better. Perhaps at Wealdstone and Kidderminster, it took half an hour to sort of get into the game and really get to grips with things.
Yeah, I think we had a couple of sort of moves early on at Kidderminster, but kind of then not a lot happened full stop, I didn't think, in the game generally. We could definitely have started better and could start better at Wealdstone. At Wealdstone it's not a bit like how many games is the start of a season. But the opening seconds at Wealdstone, they kicked off, we don't win the first header, it dropped to their player wide, he beats our fullback, he flashes the ball across, they pick up the ball the other side of the box, I think it was laid back, the ball comes back in. From not actually even getting a touch on the ball, they've nearly created a chance, and I think the offside flag, we got his first touch of the ball. Now, as an opponent, they'll be thinking, we want to win his first header, we want it. Not each team can have it, but I just, that start for me just I didn't enjoy it. There is an emphasis placed on trying to obviously start games well and on the front foot, and I'm sure Aldershot will be the same, because the last thing I'm sure they'll do is say, let's just sort of sit back, because I think then you get a dangerous game. So we expect them to start fast, and for us, we want to start the game on the front foot and see if we can get, as you said, a performance from starting one.